This meeting is being recorded.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, back with Taylor from Life Goal Investments. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Excited to be here as always. Thanks.
Hey, so we're going to sneak in this fourth episode because I wanted to ask you a question. So, I've been investing, in watching the Fed for a better part of 30 years now. And over that time, I've seen Fed presidents, really back with Greenspan, talking about irrational exuberance, really take on asset types, right? Greenspan, I think, took on tech. Bernanke took on housing. And now with Powell, I think he's going after all assets, right? I think you've already seen crypto crack. I've already think, the stocks are down. I think more pain's coming, but I also think he's going after housing. I think he wants, specifically, it's really weird, I think he wants supply to go up, which is a really odd thing for a Fed president to want. Right. But those are things I think he's doing. I think when he raises rates and he talks about housing having a reset, he's like, dude, the market is so broken. We've got to kind of fix it, or else real bad things happen. What do you think?
Yeah, he's got to take the more Volcker-esque, which Volcker was back in the 70s when inflation was just absolutely rampant and just yanking rates higher just because that's what you have to do at a time like that. But I think you're right. I mean, when you look at the broad inflationary components, you have kind of the three big drivers being housing, energy, and food. Mm-hmm. And he's done at this point a pretty good job of tempering the latter two there, where you have, you're not housing, you've had inflation come down on energy and on food. Again, maybe some of it hasn't leaked through yet, but the commodities are showing them all rolling over, that we should see a come down in prices on all of those categories.
So let's talk about that, because we hit that earlier. I just want people to realize, right, when you talk about commodities, those are called futures contracts.
Correct.
And then when I go to the store and buy, groceries, that's not the same thing, right? Just because a wheat future went down doesn't mean my bread's cheaper. There's a lag, right, from the futures contracts. I don't know, is it 60 days, 90 days, 6 months? Any feel?
I don't want to give you a BS answer. I don't have a great answer for that. There's a lag.
Not immediate.
Yeah, it's certainly not immediate. So, but like, here's some numbers. We talked through these before. Oil is down 14% in the last month. Copper's down 23% in the last month. Corn's down 16% in the last month. And wheat is down 27% in the last month. So, those latter two are obviously massive components of the food portion of that inflation number that we just talked about there. And so that's pretty much supply demand driven, with some expectation of, okay, where is that supply or demand going to continue to go in the future? Mm-hmm. And so what we're seeing there is a come down in all those prices, and that should leak through.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, I think Powell, Powell would never say this, but I think he's looking at what he did in the pandemic, the $9 trillion, the stimmy checks, all of that, PPP loans, all of that froth. I think he looked at it as the everything bubble. And he's like, right now, this is on me, and we need to pop the everything bubble. And he needs to take assets down quick, which is, 20% here, 80% in many things. But also in housing, it's really funny. I really think he's looking at the supply of housing. He's looking at the standard deviation, right? There was a time for many months we had less than a month's supply across the country. And he's like, that's not normal. Thus bidding wars, thus crazy price appreciation. And I think he's going to get what he wants, because I don't know if you saw this, but it's estimated by Black Knight that 18 million people that could qualify at 3% can't qualify at 6%. That's demand destruction.
Were you the one telling me that it was a 3-day lag? If you had gotten approval when rates were really moving quickly about a month and a half ago, it was 3 days. If you hadn't been approved for that loan in a 3-day period of time, you had to go back and get reapproved?
Absolutely. Yeah, we did have the conversation. I have mortgage guys, 2 mortgage guys on every week. There was a week where rates moved. 1 week they moved half a point, which is crazy in a week. And another week they moved just under half a point. Yeah, 40 bips. Yeah.
So you've been extremely vocal on the front end of all of this, that you're going to see a massive depression type number out of the supply of the number of deals done, all predicated on that. Yeah.
Wednesday. Yeah. This week we got national home buyer sentiment today, worst fall ever. 12 in a single month. Tomorrow, new home construction, not going to be good. But Wednesday's the number. July 20th is Wednesday. I've been talking about this for almost a month. We are going to get the gospel from National Association of Realtors. It is going to be ugly. And then watch the Wall Street Journal, watch Forbes, watch Fortune, watch MSNBC, CNN, Fox, whatever you want to watch it. They're going to scream housing bubble, housing crash, housing da 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 da. It's going to freak buyers, freak sellers, and it's going to get worse from here. It's going to be wild to watch. And then Powell is going to be like, I was right. I did my job.
The puppet master is like, I got food, I got energy. Now I got the. So what? I have my I guess she's a cousin-in-law. Cousin-in-law just bought a house on Long Island, and starter home, which is $500,000 on Long Island, which is crazy, but it is what it is. You live in California, so you get it.
Yeah.
That market has not seen any sort of a weakness. She was in bidding wars. What is your thought on that market? Because that's the one where I go, the supply is just so low that I'm struggling.
This is why I think, again, the consumer is predictable, but it is not as fast as people want. So this is my standard feel for, again, most of the country. There will always be markets that don't work like this, but Wednesday numbers are going to come out bad. You're going to see articles day after day get increasingly negative. That is going to do two things. One is it's going to scare folks like your cousin-in-law to not write that offer. So you're going to see even more people pull back, right? More buyers who could, I mean, they're financially approvable, but they won't, right? Demands that two-step function.
Right.
And then you're going to get gobs of sellers that say, honey, let's sell now. It's the peak of the market. Let's go. So we're going to see all of these listings come on at wish prices. And it's just going to be 60 days of just noise. The water's going to be murky. And it's not going to be fun to watch, but at the end of the day, transactions are going to fall. You're not going to get buyers and sellers to agree, except when a seller needs to sell. So my guess is 60 days from now, we have a lot more inventory. Days on market are way up. Even in hot markets like, I guess, Long Island and Florida, you're going to have more choices. And again, let's be very clear. I do not see a national housing crash in prices in 2022. Again, median home prices. I don't see it. There are plenty of markets like Long Island. Yes, transactions could fall 30% this year, but a fall in transaction does not mean a fall in price.
Correct.
It's just a buyer and seller don't agree.
Well, and not to mention the intermediary being the bank there, causing that buyer not to be able to agree.
Yeah, demand is a want and an ability. You know, I want a Ferrari, but I can't get approved, or whatever the analogy is.
Right. I had considered last year selling our house, and we bought in 2018 in a relatively depressed market for where we lived.
Sure.
And we bought more house than we should have been able to by any stretch of the imagination. And then last year, we probably could have offloaded it for double. Literally double in a 3-year period of time. But the age old question is, well, then where do you go? Kind of thing.
You want to rent again? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, listen, I was on board with that. We got 2 little kids though, so that would have been a tough sell on my wife.
Tough sell. Yeah, exactly. And again,
I was like, I think we could wait, a year, maybe 2 years. And she's like, this is exactly why you're going to have a lot of people want to sell. They'll say something like this. I'm just going to make up numbers. You bought it 500. You could have sold it $1 million. You're going to tell your wife, hey, honey, what if we could sell it for 1.1? Would that be enough? And then let's wait a year and we'll buy it back at 8 or whatever. There are people saying that right now. So she says, okay, honey, you get 1.1, we'll sell. So we had this exact same conversation last year.
Yeah. So she agrees, right? Above market, if you can get it. You list it 1.1. The market's different. This is not the world anymore. Now you get crickets. Nobody shows up. Your agent who took the listing goes, hey, if you really want to sell this, we might get $1 million, but I recommend you sell it at $975 so people come in the door. And at that point, your wife says, take it off the market, because we're not moving for anything less than 1.
That's such a well put storyline. That's so much what's going to happen. Again, we had that exact same back and forth last year, and then we were just like, not going to do it. But at the end of the day, that is the exact same conversation we had last year. And I think it's, and outside of that starter home market, I think it's crazy to think that prices don't come down. I think
Yeah.
it's crazy to think they don't come down.
It's again, I focus on median home price for the country. I don't see it coming down. I don't see, and again, that's median, as you know, is the number in the middle.
Yep. Takes out the outliers on both ends, right?
Exactly. So it's gonna be fun to watch. Again, this is for 2022. We can talk about 2023 in a couple of months once I know how high all these rates go. Once I know if we have a first time homebuyer program coming or not. Again, I'm not calling 2023 yet, but 2022, it's going to shock the world. Transactions down 30%, prices up single digits. It's going to be wild. So
I'll be watching all week.
There you go, buddy. Where can people find you?
You can find us at Life Goal Investments on Instagram. Is the best place to find us.
Awesome, buddy. I appreciate your time. Thanks again.
You're the man.